There's no communications to the board, and we have a number of resolutions.
Item 1, resolve that the reading of the minutes for the public session 2 of September 26, 2017 be dispensed with, and those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator. The actions taken at that meeting be and hereby are ratified and approved. Can I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 2, resolve that the claims to the warrants dated October 12, 2017, totaling $544,886.63, warrant 7 general fund, $10,626, warrant 5 expense trust fund, and the village payrolls for the period from September 15, 2017 to October 12, 2017 be ordered and approved. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second?
Discussion. Page 1, Aries Design, design work for the Moses Park. Page 2, Cash Productions Video Services for September, $1,730. Page 3, CDW Government PD Video Equipment, which is covered by a grant, $2,300. Candace Clanahan, Transcription Services for Planning and Zoning Board, $1,040. Commissioner of Taxation and Finance, MTA tax for the third quarter, $11,113.92. CSEA insurance premium from October, $28,648.62. Page 4, Design Audio Visual, Audio Center over at the Cultural Center, $20,227, also covered by a grant. East Coast Mines and Materials, carting fees for the highway, $5,680. EMT Government Accounting Services for September, $1,175. SA Plumbing and Heating, spilling over to page 5, $1,750. RPZ and sprinkler testings for the Buildings Department. First Presbyterian Church, parking lease for October, $3,000. Fluid Imagery, computer work for PD, $1,891. Page 6, fluid imagery again for the village clerk, $1,120. For Cooper's Beach, this is putting in a new cabinet to protect the equipment down there from the salt, $1,349.99, and Wi-Fi repair, $1,360. Page 7, Glencoe Supply, highway signs for the parks for the Highway Department, $2,632.80. Global Montella Group, 3,601 gallons of diesel fuel, $6,755.88. Page 8, Hildreth's 2 benches for the Parks Department, $1,758. Page 9, Long Island Truck Parts for the garage, $1,052.64. Morgan Auto Supply, also falling onto page 10, supplies for the garage, $1,750.14. Mutt Mitts for the Highway Department, $1,117.34. Nelson Pope and Voorhees, Nelson Pope Engineering for the bid documents for the Halsey Neck Culvert, $10,778. Norsec and Sons Cartings for Coopers, $1,074. Highway Department, $6,742.70. North American Rescue supplies for PD, $1,609.83. North Shore Golf Cart Service golf cart rental for the marathon, $1,000. New York State Employment Insurance for the third quarter, $4,350.01. Office of State Controller, fines for the port for August, $11,981. Page 12, Otis Ford, parts for the garage, $1,896.61. Page 13, PERMA, balance for the workman's comp audit, $9,574.20. Power Equipment Plus, a concrete saw for the Highway Department, $1,699.61. Professional States Care, maintaining the lot at Aldrich Lane, $5,400. PSE&G for electric services for PD, $5,025.48. Page 14 for the Fire Department, $5,581.95, and streetlights, $5,929.64. Page 15, Rico's Clothing, Fire Department Clothing, $1,540.85. Rosemont Construction, we got a couple payments here for paving. First one is for Meeting House Lane, $111,713. For Hampton Road, $45,473.70. For Fowler, $14,867.50, and North Sea Road, $127,690.30. Page 16, Shoreline Towing for the PD for September, $3,000. Sound Marine Service and Supply, radar and mounting equipment for the boat, for the Marine Rescue Boat, $1,450. Page 17, Tyco Indicator Security for the Hampton Road Fire Department, $3,728.20. Vehicle Tracking Solutions, September GPS, $1,127.53, and Verizon phone bill, $3,717.02 for September. Page 19, Vertex Water Features, repair to the aerator at Agawam Lake, $1,350.07, and WG Services, HVAC repair for the Fire Department, $1,229.59. And page 20, 2 payments to Wright National Flood Insurance for flood insurance at Vets Hall, $4,373, and World War I Monument, $3,371. Next warrant is the trust warrant. Corrigan's landscaping trees, $1,275, and VHB Engineering, stormwater engineering for the Agawam Park, $9,351. Further discussion? All in favor? Item 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves Trustees hereby approves the hiring of Albert Robertson, Esquire, to represent the village in the Article 78 action by Emanin East Corp. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget transfer to eliminate a budget line overage for the fiscal year ended May 31st, 2017. $10,000 out of ambulance equipment, with $10,000 going to highway contractual. Have a motion? Second?
Second?
Just discussion on this one. It was a very late bill from Nelson Pope Engineering. That was a culvert engineering bill that I described on the general warrant, which was dated November of 16, and we just came in. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 8, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the village administrator to approve the agreement with Chaliff and Rogers Architects PC to prepare the RFP for the restoration of the Nugent Carrot House in the amount of $15,000. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. This is an RFP for the Nugent Carrot House. That the work is being covered by a grant. It's similar to what we did at 51 Pond Lane. That RFP is a $16,000 cost, so it's right in there. So I'll take care of the RFP, overseeing the project to make sure it's in line with historical
I
preservation.
mean, just as an update to that, we're trying to get it so that it can be registered in the historical register.
Right.
So
Great.
it's important to use all the similar materials and the same methods.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion items. First one is the Great American Smokeout. I have a proposal here from Tracy Colson from the Southampton town. It says, sending a proposed event some of our youth would like to take part in on November 18th in recognition of the Great American Smokeout. The Tobacco Action Coalition of Long Island will be sponsoring the event. The kids would like to use chalk along the sidewalk to raise awareness about tobacco and the hazards of use. They would like to hand out information to people who are interested in referrals to quit smoking. Occurring on Saturday, November 18th from 12 to 2. Youth will draw pictures and facts on the sidewalk to raise awareness about tobacco use and quitting. They will focus on 2 facts only, handing out New York Quit Line palm cards. Materials used will be chalk, information sheet, and posters with tobacco facts, quit smoking palm cards with a quit line, and take-home sheets for students and parents and guardians explaining the activity they participated in. Setup time is 1 hour. It includes time for everyone to get there, get assigned a task, and acquire necessary information. Students will put up flyers in school and present the key card. GSAO is a free activity, is open to the general community. Students will raise tobacco awareness by engaging community members and provide quit smoking palm cards for community members, tourists, and teenagers.
What are they going to be drawing on the sidewalk? Body? I mean, what?
Actually, they would
Commercials get pretty graphic,
be drawing people that they know have passed away. They'll be writing facts on the sidewalk.
So words.
Throughout Main Street.
Oh, okay.
Do these come off the sidewalk?
It's chalk. So,
In the rainstorm.
next rain.
The
Unless-
other thing to consider is we have an awful lot of retail people on Main Street, and a lot of those retail people have a tremendous commitment in dollars and time and trying to keep their businesses going, and I'm not sure that this is something you want to disrupt the village with.
I mean, while it's hard to talk against it because the cause is obvious.
Yeah.
However, you're right, it's handing out literature and, because you don't typically allow that that I recall anyways, any other cause.
Well, we've always frowned upon anything being passed out on.
Exactly. I mean, that part, so this is a totally different
Yep.
setup than I think anybody's ever presented to us before.
That's why I asked where it was
Notwithstanding-
going to be. I didn't know if it would be in front of Village Hall.
Business section,
The whole, they're just spread about, the whole, just roaming and.
yeah, I don't, they're not sure how many kids would participate, but it could be a bunch.
And I don't think
The
we've ever
business
done
owners
it
didn't even
before.
want Ragamuffin on a Saturday anymore, so
Totally understood.
I don't know how hot they are about this Saturday.
We'll take care of it. All right, item
I mean,
2.
I don't mind them being in front of Village Hall or at the corner of Main Street and Job's Lane, which is kind of where the last business stops and then goes around the corner, not to be in front of the new store that's in the old library. But,
Right.
there.
Kings Lane.
Yes, on the property, gives all the information facing in both directions. Across the street, across Flying Point Road, there's a builder that's doing a shopping center there. And he has the same sign. And our building department came and told him to take down his sign because it's in the village, but the guy directly across the street can have the same exact sign, which is very frustrating to him. Because he said, I have a piece of property that I'm trying to improve, have somebody buy it, or improve it, or partner with it, and I'm limited in how I can show the public that this is available to them. Plus, across the street, the guy across the street is getting something he can't have. And I realize one's in the village and one's in the town. And so there was some frustration there. And really, if you go through this, and I'd hope that we could all look this over, it doesn't necessarily have to be tonight, but you could take it home with you. But if you look at highway business, which is what that's zoned, it gives you an idea of what you can do there and what you can't do there. And he's very limited. He had a gas station come to him, and quite honestly, that could be very lucrative to them, but he's not sure he likes the idea. And he doesn't think the village would be happy with a gas station there, the look of that. Also, most gas stations today have convenience stores in them, and he feels that, they won't allow the convenience store part of it. But I'd really like us to put our heads together and maybe come up with some sort of an idea to help them come up with something, because right now it's derelict. The building is in bad condition. Do we want another car dealership there? That's another question. We have an opportunity here. That's the point. There's an opportunity here. It's a it's a property that is in a great location coming down County Road 39. There's only like one little fraction of that property that might touch that County Road 39. The rest of it's on Hampton Road or Flying Point Road. He's only asking us what we feel he should do or what he can be allowed to do. And are we open to working with him on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it looks lousy the way it is.
I know.
No, it looks terrible.
So I think we need to get together and come up with something. I'd like people to say what they might like. This is an opportunity to get something good in there for the village of Southampton that people will be happy with and will support the community and be something that they want. So that's what I want to say about that.
Any chance that he could meet with us or something like that?
I
What
think he
kind of
would be
proposals?
very happy to meet with
Yeah,
us.
and, granted, the fresh market idea, which I thought was a pretty good one, but still, it is a high-traffic situation, and so I can see where obviously the nearby neighbors were raising Cain about it, and all kinds of
Funny thing though about
litigation
that
threats.
is that that market was a 17,000 square foot market. They had tried very, very hard to position the delivery in the evening in a position that it wouldn't affect the windows there.
Yeah.
And the lighting would have been low to the ground lighting. But interestingly enough, there were people who lived in that unit there and those condos who said, oh my God, I know Fresh Market, I'd love that. All I have to do is walk out my driveway and I'm there. And then there were other people who were crazy. No, you can't put that there. So,
Why don't you have them come in and just give us an idea, and I think,
well, I think we gave him an idea and we worked to try and get that going, and I think it was a 3-2 vote, that 3 people voted against it and 2 voted for it, and he didn't get it, and he put a lot of energy into it, and, here he's coming back. So I think whatever we give him, we better be pretty sure he's going to get it. 'Cause
Am I
otherwise,
mistaken?
that's throwing money.
Well, there's never any assurances he's going to get, because it's not, at the end of the day, based upon us. So we're usually the first level of conversation, whether we'd be open to it. So, and even at that last time, he was never forbidden from pursuing it. There was never an official vote. He put the feelers out, and he felt it was worth pursuing. There's quite a few ideas I like on this sheet, as a matter of fact. They're a little outside the
Permitted.
box. Permitted.
Private garage or private off-street parking area.
But Nancy, I think he needs to come and say what he wants to do
Yeah,
with
I
it.
think he could approach
It's
the
not
board.
us to tell him what to do with it. He has to decide from a business point and what he wants to either put in there or how he wants to approach it,
Or if he has somebody else approaching him with some ideas, and again, if he's trying to get a feel from us, then by all means, what is that? What are they?
I think that's what he's trying to get at.
Yeah.
and certainly letting it not go to demise the way it is doesn't make everybody feel real friendly about it. Any other comments?
I would just suggest that, part of the underlying issue here is the zoning, and if you're
Correct.
going to consider something different, you're talking about a rezoning, which of course has to be consistent with your comprehensive
Right.
planning and other planning, and, I think part of the reluctance, and I wasn't a part of the board or one way or another, but there was reluctance on that particular intersection because of the traffic and what was going on at the town side, which I mean, I'm pretty familiar with. But there is some reluctance to create a district that was going to compete with your downtown or other kind of retail activities. And so the impact of that is something that the village has to look at as a whole in some sort of planning aspect as well. But certainly, it's not up to you at this moment unless you want to go back and sort of revisit the comprehensive plan, which suggested that be zoned highway business because of its location. You could always go on your own motion and do that, but certainly, it's not in your interest to go and spend that time and money unless you know the landowner has certain goals. And having the landowner express somewhat what his goals are would be probably very helpful before you undertake any part of that as well.
Okay.
Bring them in.
I mean, even like an eating establishment is a special exception. I mean, a filling station is a special exception use. Funeral home permitted. Greenhouse, plant nursery,
Drive-in
special
funeral
exception.
home.
Yeah, right.
German funeral home, hotel, motel,
Yeah.
nightclub.
Yeah, they're all
Same day
special
service.
exceptions.
Restaurant right there. U.S. Constitutional special over there. Boatyard. There you go, Mike. There you go, Mayor Mike. Someone having a bar. There we go. Live poultry market. Yeah.
It's,
Just as an aside, the project on the town side is highway business as well. So the building, it's a shopping center to the extent it allows highway business uses, which are very limited. As you know, highway business, as you look here, our zoning code in the village here was the model, and this is where the town was. In the 80s, the town did a very extensive modification of the table of use regulations, which in some ways is more expansive or descriptive, and in some cases more limiting. So in a way, when I compare highway business in the village versus the town, I think we have a little more discretion to allow certain things as compared to the town, but it is highway business across the way. And they will still only have highway business. So you're talking about retail uses that are not traffic generators, stores, those kind of things,
yeah,
sort of
he
what
has
you
a
see Pier 1.
15,000,
those
he has one 15,000 square foot store there. I'm kind of curious to know what his tenant is.
My understanding is they don't have tenants at this point, but
So 15,000 could be a furniture store. But then again, so did Pier 1 claim they were a furniture store, and as far as I'm concerned, they're really retail. They have this much furniture and this much retail. So it's different.
yeah. I mean,
So they allowed that. So,
They don't get a lot of traffic though, so.
no, but there was also some circumstances where Pier 1 was because they had a nightclub there before, so there was a change of use that was given some consideration. But generally, a highway business allows the furniture stores, large appliances, and the like. So.
Your Le Mans days. You were there. projects, clearly, but that was the mantra at the
Well, I personally
time.
think that the Tuckahoe Center was a little bit on the dormant side because they were denied by the Suffolk County Planning Commission, and then we were considering this, and then when we said we don't think we can go forward with it, they went into full swing again. So,
Okay.
thank you all.
Item 3 is a email from Angel Perez, our ordinance inspector, with regard to Halsey Path parking, which you might remember from about a months ago. Says, please be advised that I've been in communication with the residents of Halsey Path, reference the street parking issues discussed at the last public meeting. I was just asked by Mr. Ra and Ms. Lubliner to send you a reminder, as they would like to have the issue reintroduced at the next public meeting. Both parties are not able to attend, and after meeting with them in the past weeks, they have come to the conclusion that they, as well as their neighbors, would like to see a change in parking restrictions on Halsey Path to no parking north side and south side from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Although the parking situation has been temporarily rectified, off-season parking at the beach lot, the residents feel that there isn't anything in place to prevent contractors and commercial trucks from parking and causing an unsafe situation on Halsey Path in the future.
Just to bring a little update on that, Angel, I know, went out there to look at the situation, and obviously it's a residential area, and there aren't any no parking signs in that area, so there was not much. He was sort of restricted on what he could do. So then I sent Chris Talbot out to take a look at it, and Chris came back to me and said that most of those vehicles were actually not working in the village. They were working in town in Fordham across the way. So Chris and I talked about it for a while, and we decided that probably we should try a tactic where Chris went and spoke to the contractors directly. And I don't know what he said, but the next day there wasn't a truck there, so. I don't know if they've come back.
They weren't there today at noon,
They weren't?
empty street.
Yeah. So,
All right, whatever you told them to say, I guess worked there, boss. There you go. All right, putting the screws down, all right?
I don't think it was me, but,
Okay, I'll let Angel
so
know.
it may be a resolved issue, I'm not
Right.
sure.
Okay, I'll check with Chris.
You know, we're talking about trucks parking on roads throughout the village, and time again, we've heard people communicate how, you know, if you're going up First Neck Lane or any one of the lanes or streets within the village, and there is construction going on, you have parking on one side of the street, and then you have parking on the other, and then to complicate things, you have the landscaper coming along with their huge trucks, you know, with their trailers off the back of the huge trucks, and people are upset, and in some instances, like, for instance, First Neck Lane's a wider street, but there's some that aren't. And the concern that they have is, what if we need to get an emergency vehicle, such as a fire truck down there, and they can't get through because you have parking on both sides of the street? And at one point, I had said that we have to consider this. I mean, here we're doing a no parking on Halsey Path, but we can't do no parking throughout the village. I mean, we just can't do that. So, but what I think what we need to do is, especially during the day, if we have a lot of workmen, I think we need to limit it to the east side of the street or the west side of the street throughout the entire village, or the north side of the street or the south side, but not both. And so that would give us some form of control, at least knowing that there's parking on one side of the street for vehicles during the day. But the concern I have is then you're going to get all these workmen going down there and parking. So we have to figure out a way that we need to handle this. But we can't have it where they're on both sides of the street.
Well, you can't, Nancy, you're correct, because one of the things that always scares me is in the summer when there's younger kids on bicycles,
I know.
and a lot of the landscapers and a lot of the construction guys now have really oversized trailers that
course they do,
they're
yeah.
dragging behind them. And you can't see around. And
Right.
rotate it every year or so, and maybe that's something to
And
look at.
maybe we could do the thing with that you were saying, like park on the north side or on the south side. Probably the south side would be better, because if you park on the north side, you might get, it would get too hot, the vehicles, and we could figure it out. And then if there's a project going on, and we know we have projects, and our projects last for years, but if there's a project going on, they have to get a permit. They have to come in and get a permit to be able to park on the street. That way we know that at least those vehicles are connected to a project on that street. They're not just parking and then having someone pick them up and take them to Fordoon or wherever the heck they're going. So I think that's a possibility, just to get some control over the parking that's taking place throughout our village. And we need to talk about it.
Yep, we do.
Okay.
Okay. Item 4 is the Spat on Shell program. I can't explain that one, so. I wasn't here, so I can't, I leave it to,
Well, let's make it up.
there you go.
We could bring them back, and I could give you the talk for an hour.
No.
Julie would shoot me.
The Spat on Shell program is a program started by some individuals in the Sea Scouts, and the intent is, and it really doesn't have a tremendous effect on any of our waters inside the village of Southampton, but it would affect the waters that are on our peripheral. And their concept is to load and restock areas like Hetty Creek and Taylor Creek that are adjacent to the village, particularly down at the far end, with a spat on shell program for oysters. The intent is that an adult oyster, can filter almost 30 gallons of water a day. And certainly I've seen over at the reservation where they have a oyster program going. He has oysters in 50-gallon, 55-gallon drums. And you can stand there and you'll see the water all around the drums, brownish and discolored. And right in the drums where all the oysters are, it's as clear as drinking water. I mean, it's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. So, I think the intent was that we were going to be supportive of this program, although it doesn't affect us. And maybe, Wayne, you could explain that better than I.
Well, at the last meeting, you had a presentation, Mr. Glanz, and I forget the other gentleman who were here.
Josh Blurry.
Gosh.
Explained the Sea Scout program has been undertaking this, and they believe they want to expand it, but most importantly, they were seeking the village's support in their endeavor to seek funding from the Town of Southampton Community Preservation Fund program, and that they had been making this presentation not only to the town board, to the town trustees, but also the various villages where the waters are, there are waters where this program would apply, as well as waters that abut, for example, in the village, Hetty Creek, Taylor Creek, and Shinnecock Bay. So they were looking based generally, my understanding from the presentation was thereafter looking for you to basically support them in any way you could. What has occurred in a couple of the other villages was a general resolution of support that would be passed on to the town board to recognize that this is a program that may be eligible for some of the funding that they have allowed for under the Community Preservation Water Quality Improvement Project Plan. And they were particularly looking, the timing was so that they could possibly get funding. We would, of course, have no say, as you indicated, as to the particular projects, because the waters are not within the village, or whether or not the town of Southampton or the Water Quality Improvement Program Committee or the town board would actually qualify and offer the funding to them. But so they'd ask for your support. Michael asked me to draft the resolution, similar to other resolutions other municipalities did. So I did that for you, and if you wanted to do that,
I mean,
Yep.
didn't know if you all had it. So basically, whereas the New York State Legislature, by Chapter 551 of the laws of 2015, extended the Community Preservation Fund through 2050 and enacted a new provision permitting the town of Southampton to allow for 20% of the revenues of the Community Preservation Fund program to be used for water quality improvement projects. And whereas in July 2016, the town of Southampton adopted the Town of Southampton Water Quality Improvement Project Plan, defining and identifying criteria for eligible aquatic restoration projects and other water quality improvement projects. And whereas the town of Southampton has allocated 20% of its community preservation funds to water quality improvement projects. And whereas the village has reviewed a proposal from the Sea Scouts Ship 908, known as the Spat-on-Shell Water Quality Remediation Program, to place 340 million oysters in various waters throughout the town of Southampton, including Shinnecock Bay, Taylor Creek, and Hetty Creek, abutting the village of Southampton. And whereas the Spat-on-Shell Water Remediation Program will facilitate the natural filtering and cleanup of nutrients in our bay waters and promote our slowly disappearing shellfish. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton, in its capacity as the governing body of the Village of Southampton, does hereby support the Spat-on-Shell Water Remediation Program as proposed by the Sea Scouts Ship 908, and recommends the town of Southampton CPF Water Quality Improvement Program Committee and the Town Board fund and or commit to fund said program by the end of 2017. And be it further, there's a typo there, be it further resolved that the mayor of the Village of Southampton or his designee be authorized to work with the Sea Scout Ship 908 and the town trustees to determine the best location for placement of said spat-on-shell oysters within the water bodies within and abutting the Village of Southampton with the intent to improve water quality and clarity.
I'll make that motion.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is alternative on-site wastewater treatment systems. The intent is to schedule a public hearing on this one.
Yep. This is, the reason that we're taking a close look at this is that the county was going to require wastewater treatment systems on housing starting the first of the year. It doesn't look like that they're going to do that. I guess they have a number of reasons. The town has gone ahead and instituted a program And I thought that for areas that are prudent, that are near our waterways, it would be a good idea for us as a village to take a proactive stance and also institute a resolution requiring advanced septic systems in those areas.
So when you do that, may I ask a question? So if we do this, does that mean that anyone within this area here,
In yellow.
And yellow.
and yellow, that they are required within a certain period of time to
No,
change from
if I
septic?
may,
Yeah, we
the
mandating-
legislation, if you have it in front of you, so what I had, based on direction two, one, modeling after what the town of Southampton had done recently, which was adopted in July, effective September 1st, and they utilized, again, the Community Preservation Fund Water Quality Improvement Program for two reasons. One is it identified high priority and medium priority areas, which are areas where what happens, impact on groundwater travels within 0 to 2 or 0 to 10 years to the surface waters. And that is basically the medium and high priority areas. And the town of Southampton similarly has the incentive program, rebate program, which applies to those two areas so that landowners who qualify can seek rebates to upgrade. In addition, the Water Quality Improvement Program identifies those areas where they should be spending money first for projects. So modeling their law, with the intent of this law would be that any new projects, and we're talking about residential only, because the county health department has only approved 2 or 3 different innovative alternative on-site water treatment systems, and that's the IAOWTS. And they've only approved those for residential purposes. So this law and the capacity for sewage flow at the health department is based on the number of bedrooms in a residence or the population, not the number of bathrooms you have, it's the number of bedrooms. So in those 3 instances, it would require, and it's only those applications within the high priority and the medium priority areas. So this map comes out of the town plan, would be utilized in the town plan, modeled after the town plan, and you can see basically probably a good half of the village is within the high priority and medium priority areas, primarily the areas that are the watersheds to our lakes and ponds and waters. Maybe the northerly portions of our village are not within that. I think at another time, as Michael said, on the horizon is the health department is looking to impose this on all applications. But that, if there's no change in that, and you can always revisit this and consider the rest of the village. So this would model that after the town. The law, in the first instance, has some exceptions. The first exception is, or the applicability would only apply if you would, this proposal is to hold the public hearing in November. If you proceed soon thereafter to adopt it, it wouldn't become effective or apply to any applications until after January 1st. So you're given a grace period of a month or so. Second, it would not apply to anybody who had already received, for example, they're in front of the zoning board now and they're upgrading their septic system, went through that whole process, and, only to, if they've had their wetland special permit but not had the time to get to the health department or the building department, but at least gone through that process, they could, that would be the other exception. And the other would be is anybody who already received health department approval for their application. Those exceptions differ a little out of town. The town actually, last Tuesday, had an amendment to their law whereby they had complaints where people had gone to the health department or were pending in front of the health department, and they actually, their exception is not health department approval, but merely an application filed. So I think that's hard to enforce. And so what I'm told, the general difference in price between the innovative system is $10,000 to $15,000 more than the current standard system. Given the value of our properties and the need to protect our water bodies, I think it's well worth it. You need to know that the zoning board in wetland special permits has been considering this as a mitigation measure already, and it's been a condition or imposed on some applications, or at least some that are even pending as we speak. So that's the general requirements. Basically, this is an amendment to our building code that would require the building inspector to make sure that prior to a permit is issued, that they have approval for these innovative systems in these areas, and they would have to have the health department approval to proceed with their building permit.
So this would mandate that, let's say conceivably this goes through in January 1, it takes effect, so every
Someone
new
applies for a
applicant-
building permit for a
You
new
have-
house
it's not a
on
choice.
January 2nd, you have no choice. You have to
Putting
show
in-
that you have approval of the innovative system.
Yeah, the reason that I looked at it and went, well, the priority areas are where we need to start, is that this is new technology. It's more expensive. The priority areas should bear the responsibility of putting in these new systems. I felt that if we did a village-wide, there are areas that would be burdened by the extra expense of doing the upgraded sanitation systems. And so this was an area to start. My concern is that the Department of Health, which usually regulates septic, is not going to be fast enough. And we, honestly, in this village, have an issue with our water supply. And we need to address it. We need to take it proactive. It is our responsibility, and it's really the responsibility of the people that are in these priority areas to upgrade their systems and help us all out.
Now, does this address any, since they're in the, again, just in the current priority areas, obviously any new application coming through, does any part of this talk about updating, or only when there's an improvement made? How does this, or does it address current systems?
Well, if you had someone come in on an existing house that's not you're adding bedrooms. So as to an existing system, if someone is coming in, of course, they can voluntarily do it. That's not a problem, and they can go and try to get a rebate from the town in doing that. But if, right now, it would only be new residential construction, the question would be is if someone's just adding on and it's not a bedroom, it wouldn't apply.
And if you wanted to do this and you weren't putting in new construction or adding a bedroom, you can go on to the town website, and there's a link and a little space to put in your address. You have to put a capital letter in, though, and it'll tell you right away if you're in one of these areas. And as Michael pointed out, it's aligned to the town's rebate program.
Correct.
So if you qualify, and there are some qualifying aspects to it, right, Wayne?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you qualify, I mean, you're helping the village.
No,
If
definitely.
you want to voluntarily.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I like how you approached it, Mayor, is not blanketing around the entire area, because these are the most vital areas, because they're the closest to the water, the most valuable in value, hence bear certain responsibilities you pointed out, and without counting other people's money, can bear a good part of the cost, which is the good thing. That's what's great about finally getting forward with something like this, because we've been talking about it for years and
Yeah.
years. And again, there's only two things that really have prevented us or town or anybody going forward. There's one is legislation, which finally the county and town got moving. The health department's still a little slow. And cost. And now we have all the rebates, CPF, and all that change in the state legislature. So now
And a lot
we
of
can
it
finally
was-
go ahead with this.
The systems, there weren't as many systems available to install as there are today. So, between the systems that are available today, the issue with degrading water systems around us, and I honestly expect people in the priority area to take the responsibility, and go ahead and upgrade their systems themselves.
Very good.
So before you have a resolution to schedule a public hearing for your meeting of November 9th, at least to get public comment on it.
Yep, we should make that motion.
All right, October wouldn't, it's too soon, the next one.
It's too tight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion to schedule a public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the last item is the traditional Southampton Elementary School walk around the village on Halloween.
Walk around the village. Simply put,
Yep, scheduled for 31st from 2:15 to 3:15.
the usual
Costumes
walk.
required.
My kids are too old and don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. My youngest just pretty much aged out of that. But, no, we do it every year, so,
Yep.
Yep,
Is this the walk from the school?
yeah, the walk.
Yeah, it's a walk with the costumes up and then they
Cute.
have a motion to approve the walk on October
So walk
31st.
through the school and lap around and go right down to Elm Street, so. Go move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
and that's it for the discussion items. So we have comments from board members. Trustee Uskramsky.
I'm good. No, we covered a lot of good territory tonight, a lot of
Yeah,
new
I think
stuff,
we
so
did.
I'm good. I'm happy.
Trustee Allen.
I'm good, thank you.
Trustee McGann.
Me too.
Oh, my God. Are we going to make a complete...
For there, Bill?
Bill,
But I have nothing to add.
we can go watch a debate next door.
Everybody's going to the debate.
November, oh yeah, November election's coming up. People, please, actually, if I could just say quickly, there's a debate next door, which I'd love to catch, the town debates. There is a town race this November. Please, everybody, pay attention to local elections, because a lot of what we just discussed tonight with the water quality and the septic is based on that. We all have to work together, and we feed off, with our different our jurisdictions. So
Seen anybody work harder than Julie and Mr. Funch on putting together all these activities. And, from the Historical Museum to the Cultural Center to the Southampton Arts Center, there's all sorts of programs going on and all sorts of things. There's buggy rides, there's chowder contest.
Thing back.
It's all really great stuff, and it's all really showing off the village of Southampton. The scouts are going to be there, right? Rich, the scouts are going to be?
Yes, scouts, yes, we got,
Yeah.
the scouts are always, local scouts, Troop 58, they always participate, they serve the chowder contest, and they serve out, and so they've always been a very hands-on participant and volunteer, and a very vital part of it. They have a tent, they showcase, and I believe we're actually going to allow them to do a little.
We're discussing it. They may be camping.
So they may actually be camping out to show people a little bit of what they do.
It may be a first.
Maybe first, maybe.
Did we miss anything, Julie?
Just that this year we added for Sunday fire and EMS.
And yes, thank you.
Right.
Because, yes, I'm sorry, so along with that, there is open house for the fire department at the house on Windmill Lane, and Hampton Road too, but Windmill Lane, which coincides with the September Fest, and then leading into the Sunday morning.
And then Sunday morning, they'll be doing the demonstrations there with
They're bringing in a smokehouse.
the smokehouse
Bringing in a
simulator.
hook and ladder, so that, people can go into the simulator and see what it's like under real fire conditions and such. Possibly a water shooting cannon type of thing. We haven't got confirmation on that yet, but it's not a dunk tank. It's all,
Five of us must show
doing
up to
fire
get shot
prevention
water.
material. So,
As part of it, tomorrow night is the Rotary Club
Right.
cocktail party to benefit the scholarship.
6:30.
6:30 with the Nancy Adams.
Yeah, which is great. And then right in between on Saturday, we got homecoming.
And the
We have a
homecoming,
homecoming parade coming down through the village.
my son's involved with all the, between the scouts and homecoming, they're all over the place.
And then 2 weeks from now, we have a haunted house.
On the 20th, starting over at the Art Center, October 20th, Haunted House.
Great haunted house.
So, it's really exciting to see, and it's, it's a great thing to see all these village businesses all coming together, and the competition between them, especially over the chowder, is just great to watch.
Some
I
pretty-
mean,
some
they
pretty stiff
really get
competition there.
serious about it. So it's all good stuff, and I hope everybody comes out and partakes, because you'll enjoy it. And, that's all I've got for this evening.
Okay, Joe, thanks for the diagram.
So is there any other public comment? Anybody has anything to say? Chief, you happy back there?
All right, thumbs up, good, all right.
With that said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second? Second. All in favor?
All right.